Hey, Lysandra Everett here, and this is the next video in my series on habits. Okay, so far we've covered a lot of things. We've covered why we need to look at our habits, the habit loop, and the scientific way that habits actually happen. We've also looked at habit change. The scientific way that habits actually do change. We've looked at the length of time required to change a habit. And today we're going to really look at discipline, habits, and success. So the main source for my information are two books, which I found very interesting that they both talked about Michael Phelps when he talked about developing habits. Okay, so the first one is The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg, and the other one I read quite some time ago is The One Thing by Gary Keller. Now, and the one thing that Gary Keller did was really give a new thought process on discipline. And quite frankly, when you hear about somebody living a disciplined life, or being disciplined about this or that or the other, it really does not sound very exciting, okay? Because we keep saying to ourselves in our own failures, I need to develop more discipline about this, I need to develop more discipline about that. But this is what Gary Keller said. Gary Keller said in point number 1 that we don't need any more discipline than we already have. We just need to direct and manage it better. And what a relief that was for me. Okay, the second point that he made is that you can be successful with a small amount of discipline, because success is doing the right thing, not doing everything right. Now, let me stop there and talk about this for a second, because what happens is sometimes when we want to make changes in our lives, especially with the new year coming up, everybody wants to make these New Year's resolutions, and I want to lose weight, eat better, I want to do, I don't know, keep a cleaner house or whatever. We want to make all of these changes at once. But that is not a good idea. Why? Because you're trying to get all of this stuff right when you really only need to focus on one thing. And that brings us to the keystone habit, right? Because we said the keystone habit is that habit that when we get this one right, then it makes everything else go smoother, right? It changes a lot of other things in our lives. And so with that, with Gary Keller, he says choose the right habit and insert the required amount of discipline necessary to make it a habit. Okay, so let's talk about this in where they talked about Michael Phelps, which I thought that was really odd. Two books, Michael Phelps. Okay, great. Anyway, so what Gary Keller was talking about in the discipline that Michael Phelps had is that he trained all the time. Okay, he trained 7 days a week. He trained from 6 hours a day. Okay, so that was his discipline. He was going to the pool every day, swimming. Okay, that was his discipline. But his coach found, and what Charles Duhigg shared, was that his keystone habit was visualization. Why? Because Michael Phelps was emotional and he would be nervous before all these races. And so what his coach taught him was how to visualize his races, how he wanted them to go from beginning to end, and to practice this technique to where it became a habit for him. He just did it. He would visualize his races at the beginning before he even got in the pool, beginning and the end, so he doesn't even have to think about it. And that was his keystone habit. So what does all of this delicious stuff mean to you? Here you go. If you want to be successful at something, pick that one thing, like Gary Keller says, pick that one thing, and what Charles Duhigg calls that keystone habit, that one thing. Then you want to be disciplined about that, okay? Let everything else wait. Be disciplined about that one thing that you choose. Okay, insert the required amount of discipline for that to become a habit. Then you will experience success in that thing that you're trying to change. Okay, then if you've got something else, once you've got this discipline that's happened, it's become a habit, and you don't have to think about it anymore, it's second nature, it's become a part of who you are, then you can work on something else. Don't go try to change the whole kit and caboodle at once. Pick that one thing, insert the required amount of discipline. What does that mean? Okay, so we talked about how long does it take. Remember, we in the previous video we talked about the University College of London study in 2009 said that it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days. Okay, nuts and bolts is the required amount of discipline is however long it takes for it to become second nature to you. Then go change something else. So this has been such an eye-opener for me when it comes down to my own life and how I'm really looking at things intentionally, how I do everything, and this is really great. And so I really hope this is helping you out. I definitely recommend The One Thing by Gary Keller and The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, okay, as recommended reading on habits and such. Okay, I'm babbling. All right, so this is Lysandra Everett signing off. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, if you're really liking these videos, subscribe to my channel. If you love them, definitely share them with other people. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.